Hello everyone, we are Izabela Bogdanovic, CEO of Rub Industries Inc. and Sasha Bogdanovic, Chief Technical Officer of Rub Industries Inc., the company behind Cityviz data platform for economic development. Our guest today is Krista Mallory, Manager of Economic Development with Central Okanagan Economic Development Commission. Thank you, Krista, for being part of this call and sharing your thoughts and experience about the challenges that local governments face while using data in economic development.
In the daily workflow of your team, how important is it to use data to support policymakers, investors, and existing businesses?
Certainly important, and I would say getting more important all the time as time goes by. It's always been a big part of our workflow to collect data, economic climate data for the region. About maybe 3 years ago or so, we've started publishing quarterly economic indicators, which were very well received by the community, and since then have been getting ever more requests, both from outside investors, from local businesses, and from also policymakers within our organization at the RDCO, other municipalities, and other service providers and levels of government about economic climate data for the region. So those requests are certainly increasing. And while we collected a lot of this data internally in the past, the need to communicate that to the community has become more and more important all the time.
What are the challenges your organization faces when it comes to using data for economic development and recovery?
First of all, and this is always our bandwagon issue, is availability of data. So we are always looking for more data than is available and humbly putting pressure on other orders of government to provide that data. But then on the other side of it is the collection of data. Our organization, like many economic development functions, is typically operating at about 110% capacity at all times. With staff, we could always use a couple more people to provide the services, and so a product like Cityviz has been really helpful for us in automating that collection of data, and so that our team can use our skills to analyze that data and add meaning to it rather than just simply collecting it. And again, with the collection of data from different sources, we were, prior to using Cityviz, tracking it in a very, very large multi-page Excel spreadsheet. And while attention to detail is a strength of our team, there's always the possibility of human error when you're using those type of programs and manually collecting the data. So we're really pleased that Cityviz can help mitigate some of that human component.
What kind of data-related inquiries do you usually get from policymakers, investors, and existing businesses?
So it's broad-reaching. Typically, everything from basic economic climate data, labor force survey data, to census information and demographic data by neighborhood. And it really depends on who the audience is. So local decision makers are often looking for that demographic data. Outside investors are looking for a sense of what the economy is doing locally. How's it tracking with provincial and national averages? Are we seeing general trends of growth or decline or plateaus? And the other data that we're often asked for is information about the local environment. And so just, when was it, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, we were really pleased that Space List was added as a component to the Cityviz platform, which is really something that I think is going to be really valuable going forward.
Yeah, well, and it shows some potential to grow.
Sorry, I'm going to go off topic for a second here, but I think what's been really valuable for us on that note, since implementing Cityviz, 3 months ago, we've seen the product grow and yourselves be really responsive to our feedback and kind of act, well, it's your product that you are providing to us. That I think there's a lot of two-way communication that's been really beneficial.
You mentioned that Cityviz helps you focus on analyzing data and adding meaning to it. Is there anything else Cityviz helped you with?
So to be honest, I think we're just scratching the surface of how we can use it so far. We're still integrating it into our workflow, but just an example that is top of mind because it happened 45 minutes ago. I had a call from a local local entrepreneur who's looking to start a new business and had a lot of questions, and we were able to direct him to the Explore tab on our Cityviz product and say, look, if you want to open a hospitality business, you can look here and add these filters by demographic or income level and nearby restaurants, cafes, breweries, liquor stores, etc. And whereas previously we would have had to gather all of those things separately and then either help the client to work through what the story is there and put the pieces together, we were able to save probably a couple hours just by directing the client directly to this. So simple to go in and access the data. We haven't, like I said, we're just sort of getting our feet wet with it, but I think something that's going to be really helpful for us is in future presentations. We do a lot of presentations to various groups on economic climate, the ability to take snippets right from Cityviz to integrate into slide decks, et cetera, I think will be really helpful.
One of the features that we already started working on is the possibility to export reports to PowerPoint, in addition to already available PDF and Word formats. You will be able to pick the topics you're interested in for a particular scenario and download PowerPoint and have it as a starting point in which you can further edit and add your own analysis. Thanks for letting us know. It is important for us to get that kind of feedback and understand what kind of features are required for the product to be the most helpful for investors, policymakers, existing businesses, and general public. This connects to the next question. How important to you is to have a service provider such as Ruby Industries, where we try to be able to quickly adapt to changing needs and requirements for anything new that may come up and deliver the solution for you quickly? How important is something like that?
Extremely important. And I swear this is not a sales pitch on my end, but it's the truth. We have in the past and currently worked with very large software companies for various programs and services. And I think that as anyone working in economic development in BC or Canada will know, is that the landscape in Canada is very different than the US. And so working with a Canadian company is really important because you understand the landscape, you understand the data sources and how they work and can be really responsive to our needs. So working with a BC company is helpful in that regard. And then working with Ruby Industries has been wonderful, as you said, to have a local company who's accessible. And we can, you'll have to let us know if we get annoying with this, but we can reach out and say, hey, can we do this? Or hey, what about this? Have we considered this? And there's always a responsive answer. And I think it's also helpful that you understand who we are and how our organization works. So we kind of alluded to this in the other questions, but you've proactively added features that we haven't asked for, but we can give you that feedback of whether it would be valuable to us or not.
Thank you. From my end, I don't have any more questions. Isabella, did you have anything else in mind?
Well, no, that's it. Yeah.
One thing I would add is I would give a shout out, even though he couldn't be here today, to John Parrott for connecting us with you. It's wonderful to have a product that meets our needs, that's right in our own backyard and supports economic development in our community. It's always our first priority.
Big thank you to John Parrott from us as well. His feedback and support have been invaluable. Thank you, John. Thank you, Krista, for being part of this call. We appreciate your feedback. We're real pleased to be in a position to cooperate with you and to be able to help and contribute to the growth of our community, not only locally, but throughout Canada.
Likewise, and thank you.